Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today we will be looking at Duane and answering the question of if you should take him to 140. And I'm honestly just going to give you the straight up answer. You want to take him to 140 if you have two things, and those two things are going to be Demon Wall and Anima. He's absolutely going to need these things, as well as specific espers that will give him slash resistance, because I feel like that was the only thing that was missing from his kit. He reminds me a lot of Whisper, honestly, a more damage dealing Whisper, but definitely not as tanky. Unless you have the means to pretty much give him all the resistances that he's going to need. Once again, he has really good defense, but defense is just not enough to keep him alive. And Dark does have the cards to give him the magic resistance, so that's not going to be the issue. It's definitely just going to be the slash resistance. Also, if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, share, subscribe. It really helps the channel, and it helps me push these videos out a lot sooner. Once again, this guy is definitely going to need the HP, the attack, whatever accuracy, dex, and luck he can get, AP. But looking at his bestowed effects, I don't really know how I feel about the slash attack resist pin. Not to say that it's a bad thing. Obviously, it's really good to have penetrations and stuff like that. The unit attack resist is absolutely beautiful for him, for sure, and I think it will pair well with Anima. The skill that got buffed here is his Armor Crusher. I think it added the guaranteed hit, but the bigger thing is that it's going to allow him to retain hate. It definitely has good range, but unlike Taunting Blade or Taunting Spell, this is just a single target attack. So I would highly recommend, if you're using this skill, you definitely want to just make him as tanky as possible, because I'm not going to say that he's easily one-shot or anything, but in the meta that we're in right now, slash resistance is pretty much key to survivability, and he really just doesn't have the means of raising that on his own. When it comes to atonement, it's something that you may want to contemplate using depending on who you're running him with. And this is also going to depend on the map, because you can run him to have more movement, which we'll look at that here in a second, but if you're not careful, this guy will just run out there and just get destroyed. So this is something that can kind of help him stay back, and at the same time buff whoever, maybe a Sephiroth or Little Leela, whoever's dealing that slash damage, to just be more of a destructive force. And it's raising his own defense pin, so he can definitely follow up on somebody and just absolutely crush them. A couple of other things I wanted to kind of look at was the Eternal Darkness. This is his barrier break, extremely important. It also can inflict disable, so that's something else that you may want to definitely keep on. He also does have a Darkened Peril, but at the same time it's only a single target attack. Not to scoff at it or anything, but it's just something that you may want to contemplate, maybe using him with Black Rose Helena. He's going to have the hate, so if you can use somebody who maybe has like long range, be out of range, drop an Imperil, and then he can go into something else. Dark Metal, I probably would just generally leave on, but I would definitely keep in mind this is going to lower his light resistance, so if you're using this, stay away from light teams. A couple of skills I did want to kind of look at as far as his Dragoon sub goes is horizontal jump and jump. This is going to just give him a different means of dealing damage and, you know, not limit him to being just a slasher. And if he's running with somebody like Sephiroth, Sephiroth can just move past him and try to capitalize off a chain. The only thing I do want to say about it is that this does have some casting speed, so on the in-between he'll be in the air and maybe the enemy has nobody else to target, so that could be possibly a problem and possibly get your teammates killed. But Dark does have a card that does help casting speed and boost attack, so I'll list that down below. Aside from that, if you're using Viking, you probably just want to be using his Killing Axe, possibly Launch, maybe Kneebreaker, but I think the prior two are just a lot more better. This gives him Man-Eater, so I would have to say it's probably the best skill that's in here. Swift Shadow is something that's going to give him movement just like Sephiroth. It's not going to speed him up or anything, but it will give him that native hate. Another buff you may want to consider is possibly Viking Lore. This is just HP and attack. It's not really all that bad, you know, help him deal a little bit more damage. HP is always good for survivability. You just really want to consider your team setup and how you're really trying to use him. But for me personally, this is an absolute must. Paragon of the Night is giving him defense, slash resist, pierce resist. He is going to need this to stay alive. If you're trying to use him as far as like a hate build, there's so many units that can just go through your defenses, and if you don't have the proper resistance beyond that, it's just not really going to work out for him well. Beyond that, the reaction ability is pretty much straightforward. You go for Dragon's Blade. This is going to give him a counter attack as well as a chance to absorb damage. Now, he also did get his mastery ability too, and the main thing that you're looking at here is Deathscythe. Deathscythe is his limit break, and it's a two-hitter that absorbs a portion of damage dealt, so you really want to give him that healing power up. I think it's just going to help him stay alive. It's going to make that absorption just a little bit more potent, especially if he's not following up on a teammate's attack or something. You really want to try and get as much of that absorption as you possibly can. So Duane is definitely not a bad unit to take to 140. Honestly, I think any unit's just going to be good. I don't know if he's worth re-rolling for, and the only reason why I feel like saying that is because I feel like he's personally just waiting on another unit. He's just somebody who's really going to rely on his teammates to kind of buff him, make him more tanky, and just raise his survivability. And similar to Whisper, he's honestly going to need slash attack nullification. I don't really feel like re-rolling for him is going to do absolutely like crazy things for him. And I say that as somebody who does not have Demon Wall or Anima. Like for me personally, it's not going to be all that worth it. I'm enjoying him as he is, and like I said, I really hope that he's going to have more usability for me in the future. But that's really all I have to say about him. Like I said, I'm not trying to dump on the guy. He is pretty good. He's definitely better than Whisper for sure. He just needs teammates that can really do stuff for him. But with that, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope to catch you in the next one, and take it easy.